As a horror movie fan or just a movie fan, you would know every now and then there's a movie that comes out, a horror movie that people claim to be the scariest of the year. People walked out, people vomited. Basically, these headlines tell you this is guaranteed to get you screaming. Well, this time it might be true because Barbarian, it had me in a psychological chokehold, dragging me down a dark hole of every possible emotion. And with the level of suspense being borderline lethal, the best part is you'll never guess what's coming next. My name is Emma, also known as Spookyastronauts here on YouTube, and every single week I do 2 videos about horrors or thrillers, anything involving dark cinema, to let you know what is worth your money, what's worth your time, and what you should add to your to-watch list. So subscribe if you want some personal recommendations. But today I am honored and blessed to be talking about new horror film Barbarian, completely 100% spoiler-free. Directed by Zach Cregger, the film has a surprising cast, including the return of Pennywise, none other than Bill Skarsgård. He's back at it with more horror, which I really love. He's fantastic in this film. Georgina Campbell, who is a very likable protagonist as Tess, and I will get to that. And beloved icon Justin Long. If you dive further into the cast on IMDb, you will see some surprises, so I urge you to wait until you've seen the film because it can give a hint to the terror that's to come. And the terror of this film is its #1 drawing card, or should I say wild card, because even though the film is straight up horror served neat, there's an underlying element of mystery that lures you into the darkness through the gift of fear. For those who don't know the term the gift of fear, the idea is that instincts and warning signs are evident to most of us even subconsciously before dangerous situations happen. It's the feeling that something's off, also known as a red flag. And this film plays on that feeling of uneasiness, which draws the audience to the edge of their seat, because as much as we know we should look away, our curiosity gets the best of us. We need to know what is really going on here. Where does the horror lie? The film opens up to Tess, who did test me? I know, bad pun, but oh my gosh, this woman, she tested my psyche. I loved her as a protagonist though. We follow her pulling up on a rainy night to an Airbnb she rented, but when Keith answers the door claiming he rented the house, they are unable to come to a conclusion that will keep both of them safe and dry for the night. Tess isn't quite sure if she should trust this stranger and this seemingly really charming man. Something feels off. And that is as far as I'm willing to set up this experience for you, because it's all about going into the storm completely unguarded and letting the gift of fear guide you, which is what makes this film so effective, the mystery of not knowing what you should truly fear. But this is not an ambiguous film by any means, and all will be revealed in due time. Although you are fed the story in such a way that it will test your own limits, this is a film that starts off by stirring your anxiety slowly, but where you end up is a completely different story. It is a full journey. Let's talk about cinematography and stylization. Elements that aid in this uncomfortable feeling include the low f-stop in the setup, which keeps the foreground and background separated. Almost like a fog, you can't see what's looming beyond the character's focus. You're darting around looking for clues in the blur, similar to the characters trying to figure out what that uneasy feeling is. You really can't pick it. And then the sound. The film has a lot of abrupt tonal changes that are really highlighted with the change of music. The initial, very first shot of the opening scene has this interesting music that starts as a quiet chanting and then leads into this blood-curdling squeal. And it's a signal of what terrors are to come and letting you know what you're in for during this film. And then we're drawn into this immersive pitter-patter of the rain as she enters the house. So the juxtaposition between this curdling moment and then just the nat sounds feels again like we're looking for the fear anywhere, and the tension, you can cut it with a knife. It adds to the whole effect when you're already on the edge of your seat. From here, there's several changes with the music, with the different twists of the film, and let me tell you, there are a lot of twists with this film, so definitely avoid spoilers. And each different sound design element really shows the layers of this film and where it's willing to go. Colors work in the same way as the soft beginning with the f-stop and the natural sound. We have Tess entering the lounge room with colors that are warm and also calming blues. There's a lot of blues in this film. And much like The Shriek to start, you want to look out for the pink tones within the bathroom because it does feel like there's another element hiding in plain sight. It's almost worse than having this blood-stricken red color when they enter a bad environment, and you know that something bad is there because you feel like you're being fooled, and somewhere within this atmosphere is the key to the terror that unlocks the horrors of Barbarian. The cinematography within this film works along with the story. It's not a completely simple story, but the way they literally frame it is so interesting and has a lot of attention to detail, and this is where I think they're able to pull off these really scary moments and heighten the tension in a clever way that plays off the audience's own fear and own gift of fear. I find that this is something that some modern horror films do really successfully. They're not just trying to tell a scary story, but the way they tell it and the way they present it with slow moving dollies and sudden movements or jolting with the characters during these really tense scenes just change the whole feeling of the film, and it's just that much more immersive. As an audience member, I want a terrifying story, but I want it to be told in a delicate way that really thinks about how it's going to affect me psychologically, and that care to detail is what makes a film that much more enjoyable or terrifying. And let me tell you, when this film unleashes, I screamed. I had my hands over my eyes during periods of this film. Of course, every scare is different, and we talk about that a lot on this channel, but this is one that it just, all the elements came together in such a beautiful way, and I have not even touched the top of the iceberg of this film. There's so much to discover. And one of the most valuable things I find about modern horror is its level of unpredictability, and this film just nails that because it does not follow a simple structure in the way it reveals its cards and its story. It catches the viewer off guard and is able to pull the rug from beneath your feet and really frighten you, not only with these scary moments, but with this intense, high anxiety feeling that you're not sure what's coming next. I love an original structure and a horror movie that I don't know what's coming next, and the way that the root of evil is explained in this film is fascinating. I promise you, all will be revealed. You just have to enjoy the ride. I do know that people might have some issues with this because the film is so unpredictable. It has some moments where there is dark humor, and then obviously we go into terror, and it's whether it can kind of pull back that audience or that audience member that isn't a big fan of having comedy in truly terrifying movies, because it is a jolt. I wasn't joking before when I said that the music cuts are abrupt. It's purposefully done that way to catch you off guard. So if you're a fan of being caught off guard in films, you will enjoy this one. But if you do like a film to kind of follow through with its structure all the way through, it might take you out of the zone. Personally, I believe the film did a good job of pulling me back into the terror, but one of the issues, or the only issue I really have with this film, is its ending, which is kind of heartbreaking to hear. But with all of the hype, I do need to, adjust our expectations. And because the film goes so far and has so many different emotions and is willing to blend so much together to give you an original standing point, there is a bizarre ending to it all. My jaw was on the floor from like 20 minutes into this film, and I never picked it up. And at the end, it kind of made sense with everything else that was surprising me and being so abrupt. That is the best word for this film. There is really no other way I could have seen it ending, because it is such a wacky ride and it really evolves to that it only made sense to have a really unpredictable ending than one that might feel a little bit more complete. So even if the end of the film feels a little bit wonky, it kind of matches up to its offbeat darkness. Barbarian is a film that will keep you guessing what's coming next while luring you down a dark hall into complete terror. I hope you find it as terrifying and surprising as I did. The film will take you places you didn't know you could go, and it is a really great example of psychological horror and how to draw the viewer in. I love the techniques of this film and how it really grabbed me and pulled me straight through the screen. It feels like one of the most immersive horrors I've seen in the last few years, and I highly, highly recommend it if you did not get that by now. I'm gonna give this one a personal score of 9 out of 10. The ending is a little bit questionable, but I think that the rest is absolutely fantastic. And what it is saying in plain language as well, even though there's layers to all of the different emotions throughout the film, I feel like it's a very solid, simple film done right. There's a lot of care put into detail, and I really enjoyed that. I can't wait to see what's next for this director. For Skarsgård, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. That's quite rare for me, but I was really scared. I hope a lot of you plan to see it in cinemas because you want to take full advantage of that. And for originality, I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. Definitely elements of horror movies, but please don't watch any trailers and just go in and enjoy yourselves because you will not know what's coming next. The way they set up this film, it speaks personally to me and what I really love about horror. Barbarian hit cinemas across the United States on the 9th of September. I'm still waiting to hear back about international releases, which they have not confirmed yet, but if I do hear back anything, I will leave it in the description down below, so check that out. I was very lucky to get my hands on this, and I can tell you, this is in my top 10 of the year. I'm hyping it. It's very exciting. But thank you all so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today. I'll talk to you all in a couple of days. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye, friends.